Welcome to the Kelly Green Room, the podcast for Eagles fans and everybody else. My name's Jonah, and today I'm going over my prediction for the Eagles' 53-man roster to start the season. There may be some surprises on here, but let's just get into it. First, let's go over the quarterbacks. Obviously, I have Jalen Hurts starting as that quarterback one. No other option. And second, obviously going to be Tanner McKee. He's so good that, in fact, he didn't even play in the preseason game because he is the Eagles' obvious number 2. So, Hurts, McKee locked in. The third quarterback is something that could be a bit of a question mark, but I would go with Kyle McCord over Dorian Thompson-Robinson. McCord's a rookie. He has a lot more to work with. And I think Dorian Thompson-Robinson is just not that good. He started a couple games last year. McCord is a completely blank slate, and Robinson he's already on his second team, and McCord is just getting into the NFL. So I'd take Kyle McCord as the Eagles' third quarterback. They will keep 3 quarterbacks, and McCord will be number 3. Hurts, McKee, McCord. The second position I'm going over is the running back position. The Eagles will keep 3, I believe. It'll be Saquon Barkley, the reigning offensive player of the year. I think he's going to make the roster. Will Shipley and A.J. Dillon will also make the team. The Eagles have a good set of backup running backs in Shipley and Dillon. Shipley, a little bit more elusive, can work between tackles. Dillon has the biggest quads on the team, apparently, even bigger than Saquon, so he's that obvious power back. When they need short yardage, they usually go to the tush-push. But Dillon can also work pretty well in the receiving game, so can Shipley. I think they keep 3 running backs, and those are the 3. The Eagles will keep 1 fullback, and that will be Ben Van Sumeren. He worked at the fullback position last year a little bit. He's worked at the fullback position in training camp, and he also plays linebacker, so they have that player who can play on both sides of the ball. Even if he's not the best linebacker, he's versatile, and I like Ben Van Sumeren. I think he makes the team. At wide receiver, the Eagles will keep 6. The question is which 6? The ones that are completely locked in, for sure, 100% making the team: A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, John Metchie, Jahan Dotson. Behind them, it's going to be a little bit interesting. I have Johnny Wilson making the team. He seems like the best of the rest. He made some great jump ball catches in the preseason games. He seems like the clear 5th wide receiver. John Metchie obviously comes in and takes that job as the 4th, maybe going to work with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, possibly that 3rd wide receiver. We'll see what happens with Jahan Dotson. But Johnny Wilson seems like the best out of everybody else. He'll make the team as the 5th wide receiver. And then that 6th one's going to be a little bit interesting because I like Darius Cooper a lot. I like Terrace Marshall, but it has to be Ainias Smith. I think Ainias Smith is a better player than those other 2 guys that I mentioned, Marshall and Cooper, because Ainias Smith also can be a punt returner, kick returner if he needs to be. Ainias Smith, they've also invested more into him. He was a higher round draft pick. Cooper, unsigned free agent, undrafted, comes to the Eagles, plays well in training camp and that preseason game. Terrace Marshall signed for the minimum this offseason. They've invested more into Ainias Smith, gives them a little bit more incentive to keep him, and because he can play special teams as well, I think Ainias Smith will work as the wide receiver 6 on the Eagles. The tight end position becomes a little bit easier to talk about because the Eagles just traded Harrison Bryant for John Metchie. So I think the Eagles will keep 3 tight ends, and they will be Dallas Goedert, Kylen Granson, and Grant Calcaterra. Calcaterra was the backup last year. He will be the backup again, and Kylen Granson is a solid 3rd tight end. Came over from the Colts this offseason. I think he could be solid. I liked him better than Harrison Bryant anyway, and Harrison Bryant was going to be cut. Now they flip him for John Metchie. It's a good trade for the Eagles. Goddard, obviously, that starter, then Calcaterra, then Granson. That seems like a very easy position to rank for me in terms of who's getting cut and who's staying. All right, offensive line is a little bit more interesting because the Eagles just keep churning out really great offensive linemen. So there are a lot of players who could make the roster, but I've narrowed it down to the 11 best. Let's start off with the 5 starters. That's Lane Johnson, that's Jordan Mailata, that's Landon Dickerson, that's Cam Jurgens, and that's Tyler Steen. That is 5 of the roster spots taken up. After that, I think there will be 6 more. It goes to Brett Toth, who I'm hearing is the first guy off the bench when one of the guards gets injured. Landon Dickerson is hurt right now. I think he'll be a bit ready for week 1. If not, I think Brett Toth will go in his position. Darian Kinnard will make the team. He was on the team last year. Fun fact, he actually The Chiefs didn't complete the three-peat, but Darian Kinnard did. He's won 3 Super Bowls in a row. So that's pretty interesting. After him, I think we go Matt Pryor and Kendall Lamb, 2 veterans in this league who have starting experience. Pryor actually started 15 games for the Bears last year. Lamb is some good tackle depth. He can play left or right tackle. I think he'll be the first tackle off the bench behind Johnson and Mailata. So those 2 guys can also play tackle. Pryor will probably play tackle if he needs to, but he can also play guard. And then I think we go with the rookie, Drew Kendall. Drew Kendall looked pretty good in the preseason. He's working at center and guard, rotating with Brett Toth in that second preseason game. I like Drew Kendall a lot. 5th round pick out of Boston College. I think he'll make the team. And then the last guy, another offensive tackle. I think I got to everybody. Myles Hinton. I think he's going to make the team as that last guy in. He's a rookie this year. I think he showed a little bit, a guy that the Eagles drafted, which is important because the undrafted free agent guys, they aren't invested in as much, so they have a bit of a longer road to go to make the team. But I think Myles Hinton has earned it. He's a rookie. He's the last guy who's going to make the team for the Eagles. All right, let's move on to the defensive side of the ball with the defensive line room. Let's go. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, automatic locks to make the team. And let's add Moro Ojomo in there. He had a breakout season last year, kind of under the radar. I don't know if I would call it a breakout season actually, but he's headed for one this year. Behind those 3 guys who are locks would be Ty Robinson and Gabe Hall. Ty Robinson, the rookie, they drafted him in the 4th round. Looks like a beast. Really like Ty Robinson. And Gabe Hall, somebody who was not on the team for the Super Bowl season. Really impressive in training camp this year and in the preseason game. A guy who I also was impressed by is Jacob Sykes, the former USFL player, but I don't think he's got a spot on this team. He'll probably be the first defensive lineman to get cut. At the edge position, I think the Eagles will keep 4. That is Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, Azeez Ojulari, and Josh Uche. These guys are the 4 best edge rushers that the Eagles have. You could give a shout out to Antoine Powell Ryland. Excuse me, that's a hard name to say. But I think those 4 guys, Smith, Hunt, Uche, Ojulari, are the 4 best that the Eagles have. We've seen what Josh Uche can do even if he wasn't the most impressive this year in training camp or the preseason. Josh Uche had his 10-sack season a couple years ago for the Patriots, and he's not that old, so I think they keep Josh Uche on the team. Azeez Ojulari was really impressive in camp in the preseason, so I like keeping him a lot, and obviously Hunt and Nolan Smith, will definitely make the team. They're absolute monsters. Looking forward to see what they can do once the season begins, because those guys, the sky's the limit for them. Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, wow, I'm just super impressed. At the linebacker position, they're going to keep 4 players to start the season, but once Nakobe Dean comes back, we're going to see. Because Nakobe Dean is starting on the PUP list, physically unable to perform, so he does not count against the 53-man roster right now. So it's going to be Bond. Obviously, just got Defensive Player of the Year votes. He's got to make the team. Jahad Campbell, 1st-round pick, going to make the team. Then we have Jeremiah Trotter, who is very impressive. Looked like he is super ready for this season. I liked what I saw of him. And then the last guy is going to be Smile Mondon. Mondon was a later round pick by the Eagles this year out of their favorite school, Georgia, and I think he has a surefire shot to make the team. So that's going to be Bond, Trotter, Campbell, Mondon. I think that is maybe the easiest position group we have so far. It kind of gets a little bit more complicated once Dean comes back, but right now, those are the 4 guys. Cornerback is really interesting for the Eagles because they have 2 guys who are obvious. Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. Those guys, amazing. The top 2 corners. Don't exactly know where Cooper DeJean is going to play and how that will shake out once the season starts, but he's going to be on the field a lot. After those 2 guys, it gets interesting. Kelee Ringo does not look good in training camp, but I think he'll make the team just because they were confident in him going into this offseason. I think they'll give him a chance. After him, we go Jacorian Bennett. I like what I see out of Jacorian Bennett. Not sure if he has what it takes to be a cornerback too. Actually, I don't think right now he has what it takes to be a cornerback too, but I'd love for him to surprise me. After him, I go Adoree Jackson. That veteran influence is important, especially after they lost Slay, they lost Bradbury, so I like Adoree Jackson to make the team. And the last guy would be the rookie Mac McWilliams. I think he has what it takes to make this team over Eli Ricks. Yes, Eli Ricks would probably be the cut here out of those 7 guys. I don't think they keep 7 cornerbacks. I think Eli Ricks is the worst out of the 7 that I just named, and I think I honestly don't know because it's hard. The Eagles are a really good roster, and Eli Ricks is a good player. He could make the roster. They could cut Adoree Jackson for all I know. They could put Mac McWilliams onto the practice squad, but I really doubt that. I think Eli Ricks is the odd man out, and if they could keep a 54th player, I think it would be Eli Ricks, but it was not meant to be for this season. At safety, it is also pretty self-explanatory. You got Reed Blankenship, you got Sidney Brown, you got Andrew Mukuba, and the last guy, it's a little bit tough, but I think it's going to go to Tristan McCollum, a guy who actually played snaps in the Super Bowl. Not the best safety. I think Sidney Brown is miles ahead of Tristan McCollum, but I do appreciate what Tristan McCollum has brought to the team so far, and I think he can bring something to the team in the future. I think he can bring more than someone like Lewis Cine or Andre Sam or Maxon Hook can bring, but it's close. I think McCollum has the best upside. He has more playing time than those guys. Lewis Cine was a former first-round pick, but I don't think he makes this team. Especially with DeJean playing safety, they don't really need to be a strong group of safeties in terms of numbers. I really like Andrew Mukuba. Obviously love Reed Blankenship. I'm super high on Sidney Brown. I think Tristan McCollum's okay, so I'm liking this group of safeties that the Eagles have right now. And the special teamers are obvious. We got Jake Elliott, Braden Mann, Charlie Hewlett. There are no players to cut from that group because it is obvious. Kicker, punter, long snapper. You don't need backups on the active roster. So, if I counted correctly, and let me know if I didn't, that makes 53 players. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Kelly Green Room. As always, I'm your host, Jonah, and let me know who you would want to see on the 53-man roster over some of the guys that I put on there. I'm very open to suggestions on this, and it's obviously not final because the Eagles still have one more preseason game. I'm looking forward to it. All right, I'll see you guys next time.